The quickest and easiest way to really drive a narcissist insane, to really drive them off the walls, is for them to invest in you, for them to think they're going to get you right where they want you. But then their games and maneuvers don't have any impact on you. Narcissists, when they're getting to know you, they're really trying to map you out. They're always testing you and testing your boundaries to see what your reaction is. And when you have certain reactions to the things they do, then that communicates important information to them about you. What makes you tick? What kind of things might worry you? What kind of things might make you anxious? What kind of things might make you defensive? What kind of things might make you angry? And so on. And if they've invested some time and some effort into you, and they've realized you're worth their while, one way to really destabilize them, and hopefully this will get them to let you go, is when they start doing what they consider to be substantial things, like, just when things are really good between you two, they might pull away and give you the silent treatment. Or just when you think you have an understanding with them, they might start picking fights out of nowhere and try to blame shift onto you. What they're trying to do is they're trying to rattle you up. What they're trying to do is they're trying to destabilize you, make you lose your sense of grounding. But if you're somebody who knows how to be centered, if you're somebody who isn't always going to be thrown left, right, center, so they can feel better and more regulated themselves, then that really gets under their skin. And what I mean by that is, if they give you a sudden silent treatment and you don't chase them, all of a sudden they feel like something's wrong. They might even feel like there's this impending danger. It might prompt them to either quickly check up on you and make it seem like you're the one who's giving them the silent treatment, or they might even try to punish you in some other way for not reacting the way they want. But let's say they do try to punish you. Maybe they extend the silent treatment, and they might even fake a breakup or something. And if you continue to show you don't care, then you've just caused them to dig their own grave, because they've pushed you a bit too far. You didn't react as they want. They didn't get the supply needs met. And now they're destabilized. If you know how to be indifferent when somebody's playing games with you, if you know how to be indifferent when you know somebody's trying to rattle you up, if you know how to be indifferent when you know somebody's trying to get under your skin, in the vast majority of times, it tends to backfire quite dramatically on the other person. And their first instinct might be to up the game because they feel like something's wrong with you. You're not reacting as everybody else does. They might think, 99% of the people that they behave like that towards, they manage to rattle up. But if they don't manage to rattle you up, then they feel like something's wrong with you. And then they feel like something's wrong with them because basically you've put a mirror to them and you're giving them a taste of their own medicine. The medicine they like to dish out, but not the medicine they like to take. Just as a side note, of course, sometimes when people are getting to know other people, sometimes people do test each other just to know what the person's about. It doesn't always mean you're a narcissist or a very toxic person. But the thing is, when you deal with a toxic person, when you deal with a narcissist, when you deal with somebody who's sociopathic, the games and the power plays, they never end. A lot of times, if you're starting some kind of relationship with somebody new, it doesn't even have to be romantic necessarily. You want to see what they're about, and you might test them a little bit. But the games tend to subside relatively quickly. But when you're dealing with a toxic person, the only thing they can offer, the only thing that they can do to try to keep you in their grip is gaming you, getting leverage over you, keeping you wobbly. They keep you wobbly by shaming you, chipping away at your self-esteem, taking you down, making you feel vulnerable, making you feel confused. And that's why if you can cultivate this feeling of kind of, you don't really let yourself get too close to people unless you really know what they're about. And it gives you sufficient time for the other person to show all their cards before you actually let yourself fully open up emotionally, fully open up your trust. Then sometimes you can have quite a lot of push-pull, this yo-yo effect going on, but you're not really affected by it, and the other person becomes more affected by it until they somehow become repelled from your experience, because every time they throw something at you, it bounces back right at them. So your indifference, your ability to play it cool, your ability to stay centered until you get a really good idea who you're dealing with, gives you the opportunity to witness what the person's all about before becoming too emotionally invested. You might be a little bit emotionally invested, but you're not too emotionally invested. Because when dealing with a toxic person or a narcissist, they're love bombing you today, and tomorrow they're either pulling off a disappearing act, triangulating you against someone or something, trying to chip away at your sense of self-worth and respect. And then a few days later, they're trying to get into your good graces again. It's just the way these people operate. But you, of course, you don't have to become all enveloped by the games, their maneuvers, their sneaky ways. The objective to try to get you to lower your guard, to lower any blockage that you have from allowing yourself to really feel them, feel towards them, pulling at your heartstrings. They do all that quite intensely. Because if they can get you to react heavily to the love bombs, heavily to the tugging at your heartstrings, if they can get you to lower your boundaries, then they can also get you to eat up the nasty stuff they dish your way. So just never underestimate the power of being indifferent in the right ways. When you're dealing with somebody, or even in other areas of life, it's not just with people, learn to become outcome independent. But don't learn to become outcome independent in the sense that you don't really care what the outcome is, but rather just know that if you're focusing in the right way, you're thinking in the right way, your belief system is healthy, and you're putting yourself out there in the right way, right thoughts, actions, behaviors, that even if you're trying to pursue a specific goal, you will accomplish that. And if you don't accomplish that, because you've played your card right, you will accomplish something else as good or better. So that's what I mean about being outcome independent. And the same thing applies to people. If you can interact with people in a way that's healthy for you, in a way that's fair for you, giving people a chance and trying to just have a good time, but without becoming too vulnerable, you might get on with somebody, but if not, it's for the best, and then somebody else will soon come around who's a better fit for you. And you tend to focus more on those things that are a better fit for you. Thanks for watching.